Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Cardano and its native token ADA. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel in the description below. So, today there was a pretty big announcement made on for Cardano. The transition from Byron to Shelley should be taking place on July 29th. So we have about 5 days. They could end up aborting it. They have a few days to abort that process if something goes wrong. So it's obviously not set in stone yet, but they are marching towards that direction. Now, this has been a long wait for many people. This is one of the reasons I've been saying for quite a long period of time that Cardano, especially in this region down here, was basically one of the times of your life to invest in a project that had such a bright future, and I do think the future for ADA is going to continue to shine throughout this market cycle. So it'll be interesting to see where ADA goes over the next few years, and beyond that. I mean, beyond market cycles, if it does end up taking a lot of market share from Ethereum, then this could be the beginning of a pivotal shift within cryptocurrency. And again, Ethereum does have, in terms of developers and in terms of people building on top of it, it has a huge head start. But ADA is doing a lot of good things too. I mean, the transition, the proof of stake, Ethereum has a ways to go before that happens. So I do think that again, ADA is one of those coins that it's one of those you really can't afford not to have in your portfolio, as far as I'm concerned. But again, this is not financial advice. And so, over the next several months, obviously they're going to be looking forward to, actually building on top of it, building on top of Cardano, continuing to press forward in that regard. So, I mean, this could literally just be the beginning to really coming to more of a fair valuation. Down here was more of the Cardano is vaporware phase, where that was basically what people were shouting out. And again, it just wasn't a fair criticism. It's in development, and you have an opportunity to invest in a project during this phase. It's sure it doesn't. There's not a whole lot that exists right now for it, but we're building towards something. It's this direction that we're building towards that is what has us all excited. And I think the people that were able to really envision that back in this region where when ADA was trading for pennies on the dollar, now they're going to reap the rewards, and now that ADA's kind of come up to a new regime in terms of its valuation against Bitcoin and its valuation against USD, those people that were buying down here are already at least of 3 to 5x ROI. So this is significant because if instead of buying down here, you took that same money and bought up here, you might have 1/5 of the coins, which if the price of ADA goes to a few dollars, I mean, that could be life-changing amounts of money. So what we're going to talk about now, I mean, you guys know we primarily talk about price, but I just want to give you some perspective as to how far ADA has come. The launch should take place on July 29th. There is a video, you guys should go check it out, by Charles, and he really, it's like an 8-minute video or so check it out. And he talks about what to expect, and basically just noting that this is an important part, an important time within Cardano's history. So this move here, right? I mean, we anticipated, we said this is likely going to happen. This is the accumulation phase that we could basically dream of, where it's basically in this range-bound region with respect to Bitcoin, which is significant considering a lot of coins during this time were bleeding with respect to Bitcoin, right? And then it took off, and we shot up to this level, kind of where we broke down from. I really like the symmetry, that you can kind of see forming here, something like that. It'd be kind of nice if we ultimately did just something like that where it looks nice and symmetrical. But again, the thing is we came up here kind of to the center point between this level and this level, and we said, all right, guys, we're likely going to break one of these ways. It's just hard to know which way. I'm still optimistic. I did take a small amount of profits in this risk region for ADA, but I still have the 14/15 of my position, and I'm ready to see this thing move up. I would love to see it continue to push higher on the eve of the launch of Shelley. And again, there's going to be retracements, obviously, over the next several years. Anytime you're going to see a move, you're likely going to see a retracement. But what's really promising is this move, how quickly it occurred. Despite how quickly it occurred, it didn't immediately just crash back down. And it tells me that there really was a lot of just, people were waiting for this. And then when they saw it happening and they didn't have the positions they wanted to before it happened, then they just really quickly FOMO'd in, because the idea is you want to have these coins so you can stake, so then you can earn interest. This is the general idea. Now, in the last market cycle, if some of you guys were around the crypto world, early on there were a lot of people that said Ethereum, was just worthless or a scam, or these things where you don't have an open mind to recognize what could be, not to say what necessarily will be, but to see what could be and how something could change, the entire crypto market, right? In 2015, when Ethereum launched, it's not like people then thought that it was going to go to $1,400. And in fact, back then, people who were calling for a $100 Ethereum were just essentially treated as these insane price predictions that you can only dream of. To think that it could go from a buck or even less than a buck to over $100 was absurd, and instead it went to $1,400. So you just have to recognize that Ethereum was the poster child of the 2015, 2016, 2017, those years, that market cycle. Ethereum was the poster child. ADA could be the poster child of this longer market cycle. We could look back at this area here and just, smile with good memories to know that this was where we were once upon a time, and that this was the beginning to something that, could, again, would be or could be a game changer for the crypto markets. And I'm not just trying to, to show anything up or to pump it up more than it is. I really do think that ADA has a lot of potential, and it is my primary hedge, as I've mentioned many times, against Ethereum. There's a lot of them out there that you could choose from. I did my research, and this is the one I liked the most. And I've said, it's important to have hedges. And I do think Ethereum is going to do well during this market cycle, and I think ADA is going to do well during this market cycle. And it'll be interesting to see how the narrative shifts over time to, okay, well, now it's not vaporware. Well, then, obviously, the FUD will shift to more, well, no one's building on top of it yet. Well, of course, we're not there yet. It takes time. Once upon a time, people weren't building on top of Ethereum either. So, we're going to take this one step at a time. I know I'm rambling. I was not planning on making this video tonight, but just with the announcement that Shelley is launching in 5 days, assuming everything continues to go well, I did want to give people an update. Now, this, right, I'm hoping that we see a move up to this level. And if we get up to this level, I think the valuation of ADA would probably be, it's hard to say, right? Because, the price of Bitcoin could change. But probably between maybe 17 to 20 cents if we were to reach up to this top area, based on what, the fluctuations that Bitcoin could see up until that time. So be looking to that region for a potential resistance area. You can see that it was last time. But also remember that there is a possibility, like we saw with Bitcoin in 2019, where the $6,000 region was supposed to be this huge area of resistance, and then it just cut through it like butter, like it didn't even exist. So, you have to keep this stuff in mind. ADA is one of those coins that I can't imagine not holding. So I'm really looking forward to where it's going to head over the next several years. Now, if you look at the USD price, one of the interesting things is, this uptrend is a very fierce uptrend. If you just, basically draw, these lines to just get an idea of how quickly it's moving up. Let me try to make these a little bit more parallel here. But, you can get an idea of just how quickly the price is moving up. If we take a measured move and we say take a date and price range, let's take it from the capitulation down here up to where we currently are. This is a 644% move over 133 days. But if we take it more to a realistic point, noting that most people didn't have the opportunity to buy down there because we were only there for a few seconds, it was a 400% move over around 4 months or so. So basically averaging 100% per month with reference to this original point. So I think that's pretty impressive. And if we continue growing at this rate, then it's not going to take very long for us to really start moving up this curve. And note that this here is a log scale. So obviously we're not going to stay in this trend line forever, but you can imagine that the longer we do, the longer we're really going to start moving up. I mean, so at this rate, if we were to just say keep chugging along in say the middle of this band, then by the end of August, so like let's say the end of August will be around 21 cents or so. By the end of September, at this same rate, we might be around 35 cents. Now, again, this rate might not be sustainable, and at some point we likely will correct, but it just goes to show you how quickly things can change, and you look back, and if we do make it up to say 30 cents in a couple months or so, then it'll almost seem comical to some to look back and say, like, wow, like look how far we've come. Not that long ago we were chilling at around 2 cents, a little over a penny at the capitulation, and it's already up 10, like 5, like between 5 and 10x depending on exactly where you entered in this region. So it's crazy to think about where it could be heading. The current valuation is 13 cents. Remember too that a lot of kind of the buy the rumor, sell the news type thing. Don't be surprised. I mean, I honestly have no idea what's going to happen, and I don't trade based on news. I don't trade based on any of that. I just trade based on what the data, on the risk levels for coins like ADA, and any cryptocurrency. But just realize that there could be a pullback, right? I mean, when Shelley launches, there could theoretically be a pullback because people have been building it up for so long, and then it comes, and then people are like, all right, well, now what? And of course, there is a next step, but it's not going to be like that immediate gratification of like, oh, what's the news tomorrow? What's the news like 2 days from now? It's, this has been a pivotal moment in Cardano's history. So I'm just saying, be prepared for something like that, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen. So again, I mean, I recognize that I'm rambling a little bit. I really didn't prepare much for this video, but I just wanted to give you guys an update on the markets for ADA. And remember, what have we said all along? I mean, what have we been saying all along for ADA? As long as Bitcoin holds these levels, I mean, it doesn't have to go up, it doesn't have to go down. If it just stays level, if it just stays, like between 9,100, 9,700 in those areas, then I think there's really good things in store for ADA. And I've been saying that, since we started down here. And what has been true every step of the way, once Bitcoin broke through the 20-week moving average, I mean, first of all, it wasn't above the 20-week moving average down here, but I was noting that I thought this was a really good entry point for ADA when Bitcoin was on this level. But once Bitcoin got above the 20-week, what did we say all along with ADA? It was around 4 to 5 cents, 4 to 5 cents or so. As long as Bitcoin holds this level, then ADA is probably going to continue to shine. What has happened? Bitcoin has been range bound in this level, since, you could even go back as far as say April 27th to the present day, 84 days, so 12 weeks. And during those 12 weeks, if we take a measured move, so let's take it from, April 20th, ADA has gone up 155% with respect to Bitcoin. And since April 20th, if we take it from, say, like middle, let's take it from the bottom, because this is when it started, April 20th. Let me take a measured move here. So starting here, going all the way up, a 279% increase. I mean, a 279% return. This is incredible. Remember, business as usual. Bitcoin's just doing its thing, basically staying range bound between $9,000 and $10,000. This opens up room for coins like ADA to really make moves, to reclaim some of that market capitalization that they lost when Bitcoin kicked the bucket for a few days. Obviously, we know that Bitcoin really never kicks the bucket, but that is what a lot of people tend to believe, because then they end up capitulating at the very bottom and then regretting it later. So this move, we've been here every step of the way. We're going to continue to follow it. If you guys like the content, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. We're going to cover ADA for the market cycle. Also, if you guys really like the content, we do have a premium list you can check out at intothecryptoverse.com. So do check that out. You get access to a whole lot of stuff like risk metrics for Cardano, so that it can help you manage your position both entering and exiting the market dynamically, rather than just more of like the all or in approach. It's a dynamic risk metric, or a dynamic way to enter and exit the market. So check that out. And then you get weekly premium video, weekly newsletter, and access to a private Telegram alerts channel where I'll tell you my candid thoughts on the market and what I'm doing. So give the video a thumbs up, subscribe. Everything right now, I'm pretty excited about ADA. We're going to follow it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.